Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. Hope you guys are doing great here, coming to you after a Tuesday afternoon and another second day of bounce by the bulls here, guys. So bulls putting in a nice little size of a bounce. We were saying in yesterday's video that one day was not enough. We will see if they can keep it going, but we all know that Jerome Powell is coming out tomorrow, guys, with an interest rate decision, and his tone is going to be absolutely crucial for the markets here. I truly believe that Jerome Powell is going to make or break these markets, guys. He's either going to give us enough of the size of a bounce that the bulls can potentially reset for a daily uptrend and get some of our weekly bounces going against our last two disastrous weeks here, or we are just continuing to flush down here. If we get some hawkish statements, we're going to continue to flush down here on SPY, potentially coming down to the lower area of our support. And I will remind you guys, that lower area of support is pretty much 420 all the way down to about the lower 400s here. So we will see what he will do tomorrow. Let's take a look at the Fed watch tool. However, you will see here that probabilities wise, we're about 98.3% probable here to get a pause tomorrow in the rate hike cycle here. So remains to be seen if we indeed do get that. But even if we do get that, guys, it will be his comments that will be crucial to the markets here. You guys know after last month's rate meeting, the market pretty much fell apart, right? It was pretty much all the way back here, and the higher for longer just absolutely crushed the markets with the SEP, the synopsis of economic projections here, right? So that is pretty much it that we have for you guys today. We are going to cover our major indexes here. We're going to cover our major tech names, and I do have three earnings reports that I do want to cover with you guys here today. We're going to cover AMD, which was a big one in the after hours. Going to be covering Caterpillar, one of our industrial names. And lastly, going to cover Caesars Entertainment and take a look how travel and experiences are still doing for the consumer, because I always like to check on those. It's a very good gauge of to see if consumers still have spending power or not. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into it. You can see SPY up 0.63% for the day, QQQ up 0.48%, and the rest of the market actually cooperating here. Nice little moves up by financials and healthcare, which is what we've been looking for here. If you take a look at the heat map, you will see that as a whole, guys, it was broad market momentum to the upside once again. So not led by big tech, really coming in with some real nice broad market support here, especially on the financial side. Our payment processors, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, recovering very, very nicely. Only really Google, Meta, and NVIDIA coming down here on the red side for our major tech. So very beautiful day overall as a whole. Bit of a neutral day before Jerome Powell speaks, however. On the one-day relative, you'll see that most of our indexes were indeed positive here, save for energy and basic materials. And on the 1 week relative performance, guys, we are still kind of crushed in a lot of sectors, but kind of starting to chip away at the losses here ever so slightly. And you will see that we are still in the fear category, which still represents a decent buying opportunity in my opinion, guys. So before we get into our major analysis here of our indexes, let us cover our earnings report, starting off with AMD, guys. You guys know that this is one of my favorites here, and they did not disappoint early into the earnings report, guys. You can see that they actually tumbled down here about 5% on this initial candle and then recovering it all but mostly here once the CEO started giving the call here and started reiterating very, very bullish guidance for 2024. One of the reasons for the drop was weak guidance for Q4. They did have a double beat here, guys. So let's get into the numbers more specifically, yeah? So look at this. Beat on EPS, which is very, very, very good for AMD, right? We are looking at companies' gross margins and net margins, and AMD was able to post significantly better net margins here than last year. And on the revenue side, they did beat as well. Nice little 2% beat on the revenue side. So double beat by AMD, but did come out with some weak guidance, which initially hurt the stock, and then they were able to recover. So pretty much trading at the same place as in that we left pretty much before the market closed here, right around 98.50. Bulls trying to deeply defend this lower area down here. So let's take a brief look at the report here, guys. AMD gives soft fourth quarter guidance, but expects to sell $2 billion of AI chips next year, which is absolutely huge, guys. You guys know that AI is a major catalyst here for our semiconductor names, such as NVIDIA and AMD. And it's very nice to see that AMD is very bullish on the guidance that they're giving specifically for this newer line of business for them, right? So the company is one of the few chip makers capable of making the kind of high-end graphics processing units, right, needed to train and deploy generative AI models. It's basically a race between NVIDIA and AMD at this point because Intel, we saw their earnings last week, and it was fairly disappointing as their sales have been going down year over year here. So once again, reiterated $2 billion in AI GPU sales for the next year. And as a whole, guys, it was very, very, very good in terms of report, guys. I mean, not completely outstanding as they did lower guidance slightly for next year, for Q4, but it was very solid, guys. This is what I wanted to see by AMD. Just their lines of business continuing to perform well and continuing to post very nice operating margins here. So you can see that once again, the stock initially dropped about 4% in extended trading, but recovered after the company gave a rosy 2024 forecast for its AI chip business here. So Lisa Su came out and said, we now expect data center GPU revenue to be approximately $400 million in the fourth quarter, which was slightly lower here, exceed $2 billion in 2024 as revenue ramps throughout the year. So they were able to get some very, very nice contracts underway with big tech for the use of their AI GPUs here. So net income in the third quarter rose to $299 million. Very, very good from $66 million or 4 cents per share a year ago. This is what we were talking about, guys. Needed to see a net income gain, and that's exactly what AMD came and delivered it for us here. Revenue increased 4% from $5.6 billion a year earlier here. So the data centers also grew here, guys, right? Data centers, which includes AMD's server processors and AI chips, reported $1.6 billion in sales, flat from a year earlier. However, AMD said its sales of server GPUs, CPUs grow. Chipmaker added they expect strong growth in its data center business in the fourth quarter. So most of its line of business, guys, are growing, and that is what you want to see by AMD, guys. That was a big concern for AMD last year. I don't know if you guys remember their earnings reports last year, but you did have operating margin sliding and a few of their lines of business sliding as well. So it's very, very nice that they were able to recoup that. And here's the big kicker, guys. Revenue in AMD's client group, which includes sales from PC processors, rose 42% year over year to $1.5 billion, driven by PC chips. This was the one that was really killing us last year, guys. One of the main reasons for the massive stock drop here all over the course of last year. And they were able to recover that very, very, very nicely into this year as well. So very, very pleased with this earnings report here by AMD. Like I've been saying, guys, I mean, this is pretty much the sweet spot for my stock. Anything under $100 all the way down to about 85 is a heavy buy for me, in my opinion. And after this report, it just consolidates the fact that AMD remains a very solid player. And I will not hesitate, guys, if we do continue dropping for XYZ reason, to add some shares. Very, very pleased with this report. Indeed, we will see if they are able to hold up the after hours pretty much take back here by the bulls into tomorrow's trading, especially considering that we have Powell. Now, second, guys, I want to move on to one of our industrial names here. We don't cover a lot of them, but we need to cover Caterpillar because they are one of our leaders. Look at this. Excuse me, Caterpillar down 6.65% here, guys. They reported earnings early in the morning this morning. Why did they drop, guys? Once again, soft guidance here. So you will see that they are now oversold conditions on the daily time frame, and on the weekly time frame, they are really coming in to a nice previous area of support down here in the 207, 206 range. They do pull down into this area, guys. I will be potentially targeting some short puts around the 210, 205 area, right around this 200 weekly moving average. I really like this company for the long term, but they are a cyclical business, right? And interest rates is indeed hurting them ever so slightly. As you know, their machinery is not cheap and most of it is financed. So it's normal to see a bit weaker sales and a bit weaker demand for them after they pulled so much of their demand forward here in early 2020 and 2021 when rates were low. So now the inventory stockpile is slightly building and their customer book is slightly coming down. But as a whole, guys, they did have a double beat. Look at this, guys. Beat on EPS and beat on revenue as well. So a double beat by Caterpillar. But their logbook, right, the book of their customers fell. Here you go, guys, right? Caterpillar crushes Q3 estimates, but has this issue. And the issue is that the backlog of customer orders is slightly shrinking here, right? So most aspects of the earth-moving giants business have been thriving amid a $1 trillion federal windfall supporting manufacturing, mining, and infrastructure projects. You guys know that was several bills that Joe Biden had signed earlier this year. The funding has years to run, but several things have been making Wall Street nervous. Typically, CAT stock gets a valuation haircut when the order backlog begins to fall from its peak. This is absolutely normal, guys, right? Higher interest rates means that customers will be less and less likely to renew their equipment. They will maintain old equipment for longer here, right? And Caterpillar has said profit margins could come down as inflation recedes. So they did have a little bit of a pricing power here. They were able to increase prices of their machinery throughout inflation, but it's normal that when inflation starts tapering back, they need to start coming back and tapering their prices back. These price increases are not forever across all industries, right? Especially in Caterpillar, these price increases are tens of thousands of dollars, guys, especially on parts and maintenance. So they will be pulling that back to stimulate demand, which is one of the reasons here that Wall Street is nervous. But all in all, guys, it was fairly bullish, right? It was fairly bullish as a earnings report as a whole. It's just that guidance for the next quarter came in slightly soft, but you will see that they are in an industry that is growing. The only thing that they had to say about it, guys, is that new home building, because interest rates are so high, the new home building market could hurt them, right? Obviously, you know that a lot of the home builders have been tapering back on construction and on new development. So obviously, when that happens, they need less machinery and Caterpillar gets less business, right? So what are we down here? This whole earnings report here in terms of the revenue and expected profits here, right? They are slightly down on operating margin, guys. 20.8% on operating margin, down slightly from 21.3. So not that big of a kick down here, but definitely is a slight miss here on operating margins. However, the industries, guys, are still healthy. Construction industry sales rose 12%. Sales from resource industries, right? So natural resources, mining, farming, all that stuff, grew 9%. Sales to energy and transportation industries grew 11%. So all of their lines of business, the markets that they are exposed to, are still growing healthily, guys. But unfortunately, a little dip here on operating margin and on customer orders here. So dealer inventories rose 600 million, providing a boost to Q3 sales, though a bit less than the 700 million year ago increase here, guys. So that's what I've been saying. Little taper back on the customer logbook. So not that bad, guys, as a whole, but it does present, in my opinion, guys, a nice buying opportunity. I'll also remind you, on the daily, we are in pretty much oversold conditions at that point. After a very brutal 3 weeks of sell-off, I would be interested in this stock here if it does come down in the 210 to 205 range. Caterpillar, one of my favorite stocks in the market. As you guys know, it is in the Dow Jones. It continuously prints money pretty much year over year. It is somewhat of a cyclical business. So now that interest rates are high, need to watch out for that. And lastly, guys, what I want to cover is Caesars Entertainment, guys. So let's take a look at how our casino operators are doing here. And as you can see in the after hours here, guys, up almost 5% off a very bullish earnings report. So Caesars, not a company that I invest in personally, but always one that I like to look at for signs of how Vegas is doing. Why? Because you guys know that I'm invested in Vici, who manages mostly resorts and casinos in Vegas, more under the MGM brand, however. So Caesars, just giving us a little bit of market sentiment, a little bit of market gauge here, guys. Caesars, I've played options on Caesars in the past, guys. If we do come down towards this lower 35 down to 32 area, guys, it may be a decent play for some short puts, but not a company that I specifically look at for the long term. I believe that there are better travel and hotel plays out there, so I will be personally staying away from this one, but always nice to get a little bit of insight from them. So you will see that the earnings was a double beat here, beat on EPS and beat on revenue here. Very nice beat on EPS, as a matter of fact. And let's take a look at here, only a few short articles here. Caesars not one of your more favored stock here in terms of analyst coverage and news media coverage, but let's take a very brief look. Caesars Entertainment beat third quarter profit estimates on Tuesday already, as steady demand in Las Vegas casinos helped boost revenue. This is exactly what I wanted to see, guys. That lets me know that my Vici play is a very decent play still. Discretionary consumer spending has been shifting away from goods and towards experiences, profiting casino operators such as Caesars Entertainment. Exactly what you want to see if you're invested in a company such as Vici here. So this is why we're looking at this report. Las Vegas-based casino operators benefited from a 64.3% year-on-year rise in convention attendance in August. Very solid numbers here, guys, in terms of demand for Vegas experiences. Absolutely amazing here. Their quarterly revenue was up very decently here, up about $3 billion, up 3.7% from a year earlier. So not that strong, but still, you know, you do have some growth, and that's what you want to see in these companies here, guys. And as a whole here, guys, what I wanted to show you as well is the company segment saw 4%, the Las Vegas segment saw 4% revenue growth, while its regional segment, the largest contributor revenue, grew sales by 2.3%. So I wanted to focus on the fact that the Las Vegas segment here is their strongest segment. So very, very, very good. Vegas is still very, very healthy, which is a very good sign here that anybody invested in Vici, if you guys took the play with me, or if I'm all alone in this thing, it is going to be a very, very decent play, guys. That's what you want to see, is you want to see you want to see customers really booking these top hotels, guys, and continuing to stay and continuing to pay these price increases that we've been having for hotels, casinos, and experiences, guys. So very, very nice earnings report here on Caesars. Gives us a nice little indication here on how the Las Vegas entertainment market is doing, and it is doing healthy, weathering the potential recession storm. So now, guys, that's pretty much it for earnings. Let's get right into our major indexes here, as we have a huge day with Powell tomorrow. So we will do these quickly, guys, because tomorrow will be a very big market mover. So SPY, once again here, bouncing very, very nicely here, 0.63% on the day. 2 days of bounce. We got that last week, and then you saw the bears were able to roll it over. So tomorrow is going to be absolutely pivotal, guys. If Powell delivers a very beautiful speech, we may be able to come all the way up and start tagging our 425. Tag 425 on SPY. You may engulf this most recent leg down, and you may set yourself up here for the daily trend change. Daily trend change has not happened in a while. We got a little tease of an attempt of all the way back here, and then rolled over in a severe fashion, right? Haven't had a daily trend change since the month of August. So very, very crucial moment in time right now. The bulls have a nice little bounce underway. It is a broad market bounce, as I've reminded you guys on the heat map here. So we will see, can they get it done? Or if Powell crushes it, we are just going to be looking for our lower low here, 409.35. And then after that, you guys know the lower support level comes really in at the 404 area, tagging previous support from all the way back here in the months of May. So crucial day tomorrow. We will see if the bulls can get it done. It's really all reliant on Jerome Powell. Now, QQQ, same thing, guys. We do have a nice little bounce here undergoing by QQQ, but same concept. You've seen these types of bounces before, and the bears have been able to smash them. So it all will rely on how Powell delivers that speech tomorrow. If he really, the higher for longer narrative, guys, he has to start leaning back on that a little bit, guys. He has to give some more bullish statements on the state of the market. He has to say that he's pleased with the way inflation is going, and that the committee is always open to revisions and being data dependent. So if he continues to drive home that message and he answers reporters' questions in a bullish fashion, we will get the results that we want from Jerome Powell tomorrow, and he could help lift the market. But anything other than that, guys, is going to be a negative experience in my opinion here. So QQQ area to target is 360. Get me back all the way close to 360. Could set yourself up with a daily trend change. But if Powell delivers a negative speech and the markets start flushing tomorrow, well, you are more than likely going to continue this severe daily downtrend here. We're going to be targeting the bottom end of this channel, 342, and then you guys know the drill. The support after that really becomes down in this 335 all the way down to 320 area. Would not like to see the markets dive all the way down into there, because then the bears will have taken back a decent chunk of this monthly move, and it's just going to be that much more challenging for the bulls to then rally off of it into the end of the year. So tomorrow, very, very crucial day for the markets. We will see, can the bulls put in enough space and get it done for the daily trend change? Now, XLF, financials here, very, very beautiful. Financials actually engulfing. So look at this. First leg down, second leg down, now the bulls engulfing. This is what we said yesterday's video, 3240 range is the area that we wanted the bulls to start engulfing. So now this is what the type of move you want to see if you're a bull. You want to see this engulfing move, because now they can set themselves up for the daily trend change here, guys. So 2 days of bounce was enough for XLF, enough to get us back to the top end of this most recent down leg here. We will see, can the bulls get it done? Obviously, don't want to sound like a broken record here, but tomorrow is going to be absolutely crucial. Create enough space, though. Any single move down, just going to be looking for the higher low, anything above 3140 at this point. Going to be looking for the daily higher low for potential bullish trend reversal here. The best case scenario is obviously going to be pushing all the way into the higher 32s tomorrow, and then we can potentially further down in the week or next week get the daily higher low move and really start recapturing a bit of this weekly downtrend here, right? But if for ever which reason we just roll over tomorrow, you guys know that we're in an area of very, very heavy support. 3150 all the way down to the $30 range is going to be what I'm targeting. If we continue rolling over in this weekly downtrend in here, I will be heavily looking. I've said it before. I've said it a lot as of recently, guys. I'll be looking to write options. 31 down to $30 is the sweet spot for financials for me. So keep a very close eye on that tomorrow. But I like to see participation by XLF and XLV, not only QQQ. That is exactly what we want to see. Now let's look into XLV. Excuse me. So XLV also second little day of bounce underway, but you can see compared to XLF, it is a very weak bounce, right, guys? This was an absolutely brutal move down here, guys. So we need to really recapture. I know we're not going to recapture all of this move in one shot here, guys, but if tomorrow's a bullish day, I want to see them get all the way back up into the 126s. And before this move tops up, I need to see the bulls able to get back into this zone here, right? If you just start bouncing off the lower end of this zone, could be used as resistance and could be used for the further flush down. I'll remind you, this zone is a very, very crucial zone back on the weekly time frame. And if we just continue to flush down, the line in the sand level remains here down at 120.3. That is pretty much your monthly level line in the sand here, level that we have not lost pretty much in the past 2 years at this point. So need to see the bulls uphold that tomorrow. Very crucial day. If it's a bullish day, want to see them get all the way above there. If it's a bearish day, guys, well, this daily downtrend will just continue, and we will be looking for the line in the sand level all the way down here at the 120 mark. Pretty much almost in line here, guys, with your 200 weekly moving average, this green line right here, right? So good move, bouncing off oversold conditions, but just not enough for me, in my opinion. Need to see them get as high as 127 towards the end of this bounce to give them space to reset the daily uptrend to the upside. Now, IWM Russell coming alive here in the end of the day here. So 0.86% to the upside, still one of our weakest sectors in terms of the size of the bounce. You know that the previous lower high here is all the way up almost to 177. So where would I be happy if the Russell bounces, guys? I need to see at least 169, 170. If we can bounce all the way up to 169, 170, I'll be convinced that the bulls have a shot at a daily trend change reversal. We have not had a daily trend change by the bulls here pretty much since the month of August as well, right? So it's been pretty much 2 brutal months of downside on the Russell, plus everything we got in August prior to that. Russell really, really not doing well. We're towards the lower end of our entire support range, right? Our sweet zone down here. I've been saying it, pretty much 170 down to pretty much 160 is a very sweet spot to be picking up the Russell, but I don't like to catch the falling knife. I need to see some sort of bullish reversal pattern and then look for the higher low, and then I can play my options based off a previous low here, right? So that is the move that I'm looking for tomorrow, depending on Jerome Powell, obviously, right? So we're either going to come back and really start crushing this 12 EMA to the upside, potentially start recapturing some of this higher 168.5 level all the way up to 170, or we're just going to resume our daily downtrend flush to the downside. And then you guys know the area of resistance after that remains at 160, and that would be pretty much a multi-year new low for the Russell here. I will be continuing to look, guys, for this daily trend reversal. As soon as we get a daily trend reversal, I'll be looking to play those options, just not interested in catching a falling knife yet. But bulls with a good job here of starting to curl and potentially leading into a bounce. Dow Jones, another little nice day of recovery here, up to the upside now above 33,000, which is exactly what I wanted to see. So let's hope that Jerome Powell is nice to us tomorrow and we don't just erase that, right? So what we were looking for a move to come up all the way to 33,300 is going to be the area that we were targeting. That is our previous lower high from the second leg down on this move here. So if the bulls can engulf this kind of like XLF, like I just showed you, it sets themselves up nicely for the daily trend change here. Daily trend change, we had it back here early October. It didn't last for too long before the bears completely smashed us to the downside. So we will see, can the bulls get it done and use this whole area between these two yellow lines as support? That is exactly what I want to see. So we'll see if they can get it done tomorrow into the end of the week. Obviously, if we roll over, that's the expected scenario. We are in a daily downtrend, so any move down is just going to be an expected move by the bears at this point until the bulls reverse it into a daily uptrend. So crucial area coming up tomorrow in tomorrow's trading here. I really would like to see the bulls, even if we get some negative elements tomorrow, I'd like to see them hold this 32.30 at this point, guys, right? Because we need to start putting up some moves higher. I'll remind you, we're getting very dangerously close here to our monthly higher low on the Dow Jones. The monthly higher low is 31,500 at this point. So I need to see the bulls close this monthly candle above, and nice little wick here being created on the month currently. So I need to see them not close hard below this range. I really need to see them close the month of October here. Well, it's pretty much closed, as a matter of fact, today, right? But I would not like to see tomorrow dip very aggressively and start the monthly candle for November and start really pushing lower into here, guys. Very nice little monthly close on the day today. We'll cover more monthly closes tomorrow once they're all said and done, and once we have Powell information as well. Now let's get into big tech here, guys. So big tech here, right? I'm going to look at Apple first. Apple with earnings on Thursday. So very, very crucial day coming up for Apple. But Apple, nice little bounce here today, kind of inside yesterday's trading. So still looking for the same thing, guys. We are still in a daily downtrend at this point. So we are looking for the bulls to put in a nice enough of a move against this 173.80 area, right? 173 area is this target right here. Need the bulls to come up as close as possible. They can do this with earnings. If they do this with earnings and engulf this move to the upside, set themselves up nicely for the daily trend change. But if we flush on earnings, it will be the expected daily downtrend continuation by the bears at that point, and then you will have your further support areas down here, guys, all the way further down to 160. This little pocket right here is what we'll be looking for Apple on that point. So Apple really struggling to maintain this. The bulls are struggling to prevent the bears from really putting very, very solid legs down here on this weekly downtrend here. So Apple putting up some good defense in this little green zone here. This was my sweet spot for the longest time. And you see how challenging it's been for the bears to absolutely flush this area. That's why this area was crucial, and that's why I like playing it. But if they do flush it, it will be on earnings, guys. Earnings is going to put this either way. I would like to see on a positive earnings, the bulls hold above 175. And if it's a bearish earnings, guys, we're just going to literally flush this whole zone here and move into our next zone of trading, 160 all the way down to 150. So keep a very close eye on that for Apple. But for now, bulls playing good defense. Now, AMD, as we covered on earnings, guys, recovered most of the move today. Very, very nice push up on AMD on the day as a whole, right? So where are we looking for, guys? Our next area is going to be the 102, right? So daily downtrend, always look the last person who started the most recent leg down. So the most recent leg down is this one, the person who started it sitting right here at 102. So when you're looking at the size of the bounce, you need the size of the bounce to come up as close as possible to him to have a best shot at reversing into a daily uptrend. We will see if the gains can be protected into tomorrow's trading, considering the fact that we also have Jerome Powell coming out with interest rate decision here. So very, very crucial day for AMD tomorrow. If we simply roll over, guys, you guys know where we're going. You guys know the drill. We are coming down into this lower 90/85 area, and the weekly downtrend will simply continue. AMD is trying desperately for a weekly double bottom here to potentially set up for the weekly trend reversal into the later part of this year and potentially into early 2024 as well here. So great job by the bulls, put in enough space. Now can they change the daily trend similar to what they did right here? Crucial next few days for AMD. Now Amazon. Okay, so Amazon with one of our first daily engulfing moves, guys. This is what I mean when I talk about engulfing moves. So daily downtrend, right? Last person who started this most recent leg down was this guy right here. Boom, engulfing. That's exactly what you want to see, engulfing the moving averages as well. So Amazon, one of our lead bulls here, pulling out of earnings. Very, very, very nice earnings push from them, coming right back up to exactly where I wanted them. Why? Because the 133 area is your weekly level, right? Weekly downtrend. The bulls have now done two things. They've engulfed the weekly and they're engulfing the daily as well. So very, very bullish by Amazon bulls here, right? So look at this, guys. They can set up the daily trend change. Set up the daily trend change here and smash 133 area. You will also be smashing your most recent weekly lower high and then annihilating this weekly downtrend here. So crucial setup by the bulls at this point. We'll see if they can do it. They do have some very good momentum on their side, but keep in mind, even if we do pull back here for the next few days, it's okay. We have tons of space. Anything above 180.5 is just your daily higher low for a potential second leg up, but I need them to smash this 133. 133 is huge, guys. Get this, and you get the weekly trend back in our favor. So keep a close eye on that for Amazon. Now let's move down to Google. Google performing decently on the day here today, guys. I know it's down, but at least Google hasn't been flushing here, especially after the earnings results that they got. Earnings were bullish, but the market reacted to them negatively. So what have we been saying on Google? We need the after earnings move. We need these daily bulls here to put in as much space as possible. I'd like to see them come up into the 130s. If you can come up in the 130s, you can set up a decent amount of space here to reverse the daily trend in back to the bulls to the upside here and potentially stop the bleeding on this massive weekly candle down, right? So need the bulls to start putting in some moves. They've lost the weekly uptrend at this point, but they've not set the weekly downtrend. So the size of bounce will be key, guys. If they set up a weak bounce and then flush the lows here of 121, well, you will be setting up potentially a weekly downtrend. And it hasn't been a weekly downtrend here on Google all year pretty much. So that will be absolutely crucial to us. If we do continue to come down, you guys know 120 down to 110 is my sweet spot area. I do have a position on Google now in the trading portfolio at 130 we got assigned. So if you do come down here, we will be looking to average down on some Google shares here. Size of the bounce remains absolutely crucial. Need to see the bulls pull up into the 130 area. But for now, doing fairly good here, guys. I don't like the size of this bounce so far. I would like to see Google come in with a couple more 2% days here to really get us going and start filling some of this earnings gap here before taking a little break and potentially resuming and setting a new daily uptrend here. So that's pretty much it for Google. Now move down to Meta. Meta with a decent day here, even though it's red as well, holding up the market pretty decently. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but Meta was in a daily downtrend at this point. The earnings move has been very, very, very good, guys. So we've been looking for your higher low, right? Anything above 279.50 at this point, we'll just be looking for a daily higher low for the daily trend change. That's what we're looking for. And we are still above our 300 psychological level, and we are still above our major area of support, these two yellow lines right here. So Meta still looking for the daily trend change. I'll remind you that's very important because we're trying as well to negate this weekly downtrend attempt by the bears too, right? So it was a weekly uptrend. We lost it, haven't set the weekly downtrend. Now the bulls are trying to V-shape this. So let's give them a chance, guys. If they can set the daily uptrend after this move, they'll be very, very good in recapturing a lot more of this weekly move to the downside. Meta set up fairly decently, guys. Can't really say too much negativity about Meta. They had a beautiful earnings report. Now it's just continuation off of that. And now we are back pretty much in the magnet zone, right around the 300 psychological level. So step number one complete, nice little bounce. Now I just see step number two, need to set the daily uptrend. And now Microsoft, very nice day here by Microsoft, guys, up 0.25%. It looks a lot worse than it actually is, though, guys. Look at this, right? Microsoft protecting the daily uptrend with all it has, rejecting nicely off these moving averages here, and now we are starting to take some back. I need to see a break of 346, though. 346 will really consolidate the fact that the daily uptrend is still well in motion here and would give us some nice legs on this new weekly uptrend as well here, guys. So the bulls are trying to reverse the weekly downtrend, right? Or weekly downtrend at this point. And now the bulls trying for the weekly uptrend. Need to see a break of 346, however, which is your previous high of the last couple weeks after the earnings move. I think that they can do it. Microsoft really with some no real red flags for the stock specifically here. I was very, very bullish after their earnings report, so we'll see if they can get it done. Obviously, tomorrow is going to be a big day, but now, guys, any single move down above 327, just looking for a potential daily higher low. So Microsoft can either go two ways. Either going to move up and crack 346 in one clean shot, but if they need to set up somewhat of a tightening range, accumulate as they kind of did up here, right? Accumulate and then blast. Well, Microsoft has been known to do that in the past. So long as they protect this lower 330 area, it is going to be fine for Microsoft. So we'll take it one day at a time. But I do like this setup, guys. Microsoft recovering very, very nicely compared to a lot of other stocks here. Now let's move down to NVIDIA. Oof, guys, NVIDIA. I got slightly nervous for NVIDIA shareholders today, right? NVIDIA came all the way down to 393. So they flushed our 400 level and now back above it, guys. 407, slight little dip in 405, potentially due to AMD earnings here, but back above it, guys. You can see how hard the bulls are trying to protect this area. Let's see if they can get it done. But daily downtrend continuing at this point, right? Getting nervous for the bulls. Why? Because you guys know the weekly downtrend is potentially in motion at this point. They lose this 404 and close below it. It's not going to be good. The next area of support is going to be all the way down to 375. I will give it to them. They lost it, but they're not closing below. So you can see how hard the bulls are playing defense. What I need to see by the bulls at this point, though, guys, is a move back to at least 435. Get me as close as possible to 435. We can talk about the daily uptrend reversal and really saving this area. But any close below and flush at this point, guys, this area is lost. We will be in a weekly confirmed downtrend at this point. That will mean monthly consolidation is still underway by NVIDIA. And the next targets you guys know are 376. First target and second target will be all the way down here to 350, 340 to our previous all-time high. That would be fairly fitting for this chart. Your 12 EMA is also down there on the monthly here, guys. And you guys know that NVIDIA is fairly extended. So last chance to dance for the bulls. We've been saying it for the last 4 videos at this point, and look how hard of defense they've been playing in this area. So can they get it done? Can they not? Next few days, crucial for NVIDIA, and no earnings to save them until November. Now our three last ones, Tesla. Tesla doing fairly good here today, guys. Up 1.76%. Was very, very negative on the morning, guys, all the way down to 194 here. So Tesla bulls trying for it, but unfortunately still in a daily downtrend here, guys. So if we get a bounce underway, guys, we're going to need to get as close as possible to 222 to reset for a daily uptrend. As of now, the bear is in full control of this daily downtrend. We are still in my sweet spot, but I am looking to write options below. I want to be writing options at this point, guys, in the 180 range. We are in a weekly downtrend as well here, guys, and we are still in severe monthly consolidation at this point. I don't like this monthly candle close that we just closed on Tesla. Leads me to believe that we may potentially get a little wick down into this lower 180 area as the month of November starts here, and we don't have much positive news coming out on Tesla for quite some time. So a bit of time here for the stock to fade. I'm still very bullish on Tesla for the long term, but short term, they have been struggling, guys, with interest rates and continued reduction on prices. And Elon Musk's tone on the call has definitely not helped this stock here. Nice little recovery intraday, but still nowhere close to setting the daily uptrend here, guys, especially after yesterday's 5% down day when the entire market was green. Need to see a better attempt by the bulls at trying to change this. We need to bounce as close as possible to 222 to really give ourselves a shot at reversing this into a daily uptrend here. As of now, still in a very, very heavy daily downtrend. So you guys know the next support area down here, all the way 190, all the way down to 180. This little pocket right here, pretty much all the way down to like 160 even, guys. This is a very, very wide pocket here. So that's the area that I will be targeting first. For my short puts, going to be looking as close as possible to 180, 175 as possible as I can get it. So that's pretty much it for Tesla. We'll see what happens tomorrow with the rate decision, because that could impact Tesla a lot. Now, lastly, Palantir and PayPal. Palantir here coming into earnings, pretty much earnings tomorrow, not tomorrow, but rather on Thursday here. So can't do too much technical analysis on it. Same thing as PayPal. PayPal's earnings tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So going to be huge. Big, big, big week this week, guys, for a lot of stocks on this list here. So Palantir continuing its daily downtrend here. Bulls not able to put too much of a run up into it. Need to see them protect this little line right here, right? 1370 is going to be your crucial area. It's lining up very, very beautifully with the 200 daily moving average right now. So it remains to be seen if Palantir can hold this. That is going to be the make or break area for the bulls on earnings on Thursday, guys. So watch out for it. Can't do too much TA, guys, but you guys know if earnings are bullish, we're going to be looking for 1690. Get as close as possible to 1690. Can reset the daily uptrend to the upside, and we can protect this weekly uptrend as well. But if you get a bad earnings, guys, and flush this area, unfortunately, you will be losing a lot of things. You'll be losing a 3-4 month support level at this point. You will also be losing the weekly uptrend here, and you will be losing monthly support. So we'll talk about it if we get it, guys, because then I'll be interested in getting Palantir in the $12 to $11 range. But as of now, bulls trying to hold this area desperately with their lives. We'll see what happens on earnings on Thursday. And now lastly, PayPal. PayPal, guys, up decently 1.5% today, but doesn't mean much with earnings tomorrow. Earnings tomorrow are going to be crucial. I've said it enough on the channel. We are in a daily downtrend at this point. Yes, the bulls bounce a little bit today, but the bears are absolutely in full control at every time frame, guys. Monthly downtrend, weekly downtrend, and daily downtrend as well. So earnings tomorrow, pivotal moment in time for PayPal stock. We are still fairly low on the RSI. I've said it once, I've said it again. PayPal earnings tomorrow are going to be one of two things, right? We're either going to launch and set up enough of a move to finally get ourselves a daily uptrend, guys. We haven't had a daily uptrend since pretty much August as well on this stock here. So earnings is either going to take us to the upside, reset the daily uptrend, and get the bulls moving in the right direction here, and potentially start taking back some of this nasty, most recent 7 weeks of downside here, or it's going to be the final flush. This is going to be PayPal's final flush if earnings are bad. We are going to head into the $40 range. And if we start heading into the $40 range, guys, this is going to be the average in territory here. $47, $46, $45 is where I will be targeting. So we will take it one day at a time. We'll see what happens tomorrow on earnings. I'm very bullish for the stock either way. We're either going to get a final flush catalyst for PayPal, because I do believe that their guidance for next year will be bullish, but they may just guide down for Q4 in terms of payment processing. And I will be looking to pick up the stock, guys, because in the $40 range, guys, you're talking pretty much like, early 2017 prices, almost really back to like IPO prices, right? Lower 40s, higher 30s at that point, which is absolutely ridiculous for PayPal, in my opinion, considering how much revenue they've increased since then. So that's pretty much it that I had for you guys today. I hope you appreciated the video. If you did like the video, guys, consider dropping a like. I really appreciate it for the channel. Helps me out a lot. And if you are new here, consider subscribing to the channel as well. Tomorrow, very, very big day, Jerome Powell. We do have a couple earnings and then Apple earnings on Thursday. So wrapping up the last big week of earnings this week and last big week with Jerome Powell too. So we will see if it's enough to give the bulls the energy that they need to continue our little bounces here. And as always, guys, if you have any questions on macro, stocks, or options, feel free to leave them down below in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, usually within the first 24 hours. So take care, guys. Happy trading. Don't get too crazy tomorrow. Don't take on too much risk here, because still a lot of big earnings here to come out here, and we do have Jerome Powell, so just keep that in mind here, guys. So take care. I'll see you after the close tomorrow. Peace.